Let's go ahead and take a look at the first half of the Unit 6 test review. Example 1. If angle DEF and angle LMN are complementary and angle DEF is 63 degrees, what is the measurement of angle LMN? Go ahead, select your answer. Alright, the first thing that we need to know is that complementary angles say that if you take two angles and add them together, you know that they're going to equal 90 degrees. They tell us that the one angle is 63 degrees, but they're asking us to find the other angle. This is a very basic one-step equation. So we're going to take the number from the left-hand side, which was 63, and we're going to subtract that by its additive inverse property. We know that that is 0, so bring down the x, and that equals 27, and you should have selected answer choice D. Alright, example 2. A cup at a water dispenser is in the shape of a cone. If the cup has a height of 4 inches and a diameter of 2 inches, how much water can the cup hold? Go ahead, find your answer. Alright, so the first thing is that it does say it is in the shape of a cone, so I need to make sure that I'm taking a look at the right picture on my formula sheet. The one thing that it does not share with you is whether or not you have to find surface area or you have to find the volume. You have to understand that because we are talking about how much something can hold, we know that that's going to be the volume. And the formula for the volume of a cone is 1/3 times pi r squared times h. And I'm going to go ahead on my proof paper and I'm going to write down the letters that we need. And we said we're always going to let pi equal the letter A, which is always 3.14. Here's the sneaky part. Our radius, we know that is half of the circle. Well, they do say that they have a diameter of 2. We need to take that 2 and divide it in half to find our radius. So 2 divided by 2 leaves you with 1, and they say that the height is 4. So now that I have all of that written down, I'm going to go to Desmos. And I'm going to plug in the formula that they give us. And they give us 1/3 times pi r squared times h. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug in all the information that I wrote down on my proof paper. And again, don't forget that you need to take that diameter and you need to cut it in half. And it looks like I get about 4.186, so you should have selected answer choice C. Jelani wanted to create a pyramid for his project. He needs to cover the entire pyramid with wrapping paper. Based on the model below, what is the smallest amount of paper he will need? Go ahead, select your answer. Okay, so it does say that, and I did kind of scooch it down, so it says the smallest amount of paper he will need, but this was wrapping paper, and we know anything that has to do with covering has to do with surface area. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the formula for the surface area of a square-based pyramid, which on our formula sheet they tell us is 1/2 times the slant times perimeter times your big B. So I'm going to go ahead and jot down the letters that we need. And remember, your formula sheet tells you where to find all of these. The slant is the number that's on the outside of the pyramid, which they share with us is 9. The perimeter means that we need to take a side of the base, which is the square, and we need to multiply that by 4. Your formula sheet also does say that. So the side is 5, multiply it by 4. The big B is the area of the base, and the area of a square is side squared, so I'm going to take my side and I'm going to square it. And then from here, you guys are really good about this. You're just going to go right to Desmos and you're going to plug it all in. So it's 1/2 times L times P plus big B. My slant was 9. My perimeter, we had to take 5 and multiply that by 4 sides, and the big B was the side squared, and it looks like I get 115, so you should have selected answer choice D. Question 4. What happens to the surface area of the rectangular prism if the height is doubled? Select the statement that is true. Go ahead, select your answer. So what I would suggest doing here is that it does talk about surface area, and these are the ones where you actually have to find the surface area of the original figure and then find the surface area of the new figure after you do exactly what it says to do. And I know I scrolled it down, but it does say that the height would need to be doubled. All right. So we need to find the original surface area here. So I'm going to go right to Desmos. I'm going to clear this all out, and because this is a rectangular prism, I'm going to go ahead and toss in exactly what the formula says that it is. And I am just messing up left and right here. Here, let's try this. All right. And if you take a look at the picture, it does say that your length is 9, your width is 3, and your height is 5. So the original here that we have is that the surface area is 174. All right, so now we need to go find the new one after our height is doubled. So I'm going to take that 5, I'm going to delete that and double it. And it looks like that the surface area of the new prism is going to be 294. All right, so let's take a look at which statement is true here. So did our surface area double? Well, if I do 294 divided by 2, we could go ahead and check that. So 294 divided by 2 gives me 147, so we know that that is not a true statement. We can also say that the area surface definitely increases, so it doesn't decrease. But for D, it says that the surface area is equal to the volume. Well, if you do length times width times height, okay, you are going to get nothing close to 294. So we know that the answer that you should have selected is answer choice C. Example 5. Select all the pairs of vertical angles in the figure below. You must select all correct answers. Go ahead and answer this on your own. All right, so we know that vertical, and again, I'm sorry, I did scooch it down. It does say vertical angle, so these are angles that are across from each other. So the first one is 2 and 5. So here's 2, here's 5. We can say that angles 2 and 5 are vertical. Then it says angles 4 and 5. Well, if I am taking a look at 4 and 5, well, those are not across from each other. Those are not only adjacent, but they're also complementary, so you should not have selected answer choice B. C, well, this says angle 6 and angle 3. We can definitely say that those are across from each other and equal because we know they both equal 90. Angles 1 and 4. All right, those are definitely crisscross at the vertex. Those are congruent, so you should have selected D. 2 and 3, well, those are next to each other, but we don't even know what they equal. And then 1 and 2, again, they're not only adjacent, but they are complementary. So you should have selected A, C, and D. Below is a cake cut into equal slices. Whoops. What is the angle relationship between cake slice A and cake slice B? Go ahead and answer this. All right, so we know that vertical means that they need to be across from each other. Those are definitely not across from each other. Complementary means that they need to equal 90. And then supplementary means that they would equal 180, which is a straight line. We could definitely cross off the straight line one. Now complementary, there really is not enough information on here to know if that equals 90 degrees. So we're just going to say that these are B. We would call these adjacent angles. Example 7. Which angle below is supplementary to angle 3? Go ahead. All right, so vocab says that supplementary means that you need to take two angles and add them together, and when you do that, they're going to equal 180. So if I have angle 3 here, well, I just need to pick an angle. Okay, so it looks like if I take a look right here, that gives me one straight line. Well, what angle in there gets it to make one straight line? Well, it is angle 2. You should have selected answer choice B. What is the surface area of the following figure below? Go ahead, and I'll scooch that up. Go ahead, find your answer. All right, so surface area, well, this is really just looking at your formula sheet and going, okay, well, I know that the formula for the surface area is pi r squared plus pi rl. That's a double R. Pi RL. Let's try that. And we know that when we use decimals, we're always going to say that A equals 3.14 R is our radius, which they do give us as 2, so that's nice. And that the L is the slant, it's the number that's on the outside of the cone. So I'm going to go right to Desmos. I'm going to clear this all out. And I'm going to say AR squared plus ARL. And I'm going to start typing in all the numbers that we came up with. And it looks like I get about 50.24, and if I were to have selected an answer, I would have selected answer choice B. Example 9, select all the situations that would involve finding the volume of a shape. You must select all correct answers. So go ahead and find all the answers that you would need to use the volume formula for. All right, example A, the amount of paint a jar will hold. Well, the key word there is hold, so we're going to say B. How many toys will fit into a box? So we're going to select B. C, the amount of wrapping paper. Well, that's covering the outside of something, so that would be surface area. D, the amount of aluminum for a can. Now remember, that's the can, not what is going into the can. The amount of fabric needed for a pillowcase, the fabric is what's on the outside, and the amount of sand needed to fill a sandbox, you should have selected A, B, and F. What is the surface area of the following figure below? Surface area, go ahead and find your answer. All right, so the formula for surface area, which I've actually already done one of these today, so that's nice. 1/2 times the slant times perimeter plus big B. So the slant is the number that is on the outside of the pyramid, and it looks like that is 25. The P stands for perimeter, and we know that we need to take the side of this square, we need to multiply that by 4, and big B is the area, and we take this side and we square it. So I'm going to head over to Desmos, and I'm going to type in the formula exactly the way that we see it. The slant was 25, the perimeter said we need to take the side and multiply that by 4, and the big B says we need to find the area, so it's side squared. I get 896, so you should have selected answer choice A.